Level 1. Have you ever noticed something strange? Two people leave the same office at the same time. They earn the same salary, have similar qualifications, and even dream of a better life. 5 years later, one runs a business, travels freely, and chooses how to spend each day. The other is still waiting for the right opportunity. So what changed? It wasn't luck. It wasn't talent. And it definitely wasn't the 8 hours they spent at work. It was what happened after work. Most people believe their future is built between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. But that's only the part that pays today's bills. Your evenings quietly decide tomorrow. Every day around 5 p.m., the world splits into two groups. One group goes home to recover. The other goes home to build. At first, the difference is almost invisible. A few pages of a book, an online lesson, a business idea written in a notebook, one video edited, one email sent, one workout finished. None of it looks life-changing. That's exactly why most people overlook it. Success rarely arrives like an explosion. It grows quietly, like money-earning interest. Day after day, almost nothing seems to change, until one day, everything has. But if a few evening hours can completely change someone's future, why don't more people use them? The answer has very little to do with time. It has everything to do with how your brain works. Think about your last workday. You clocked out exhausted. Your body wanted rest. Your mind wanted escape. You probably told yourself, I'll work on my goals tomorrow. Then tomorrow became next week. Next week became next month, and another year quietly disappeared. Most people think they're missing time. They're actually missing direction. Imagine giving two people the same 3 free hours every evening. One spends them scrolling through other people's achievements. The other spends them creating their own. Years later, they both had the same amount of free time, but they built completely different lives. Why? Because your brain was never designed to chase ambitious goals. It was designed to keep you alive. For thousands of years, survival meant conserving energy and avoiding unnecessary effort. That ancient system still exists today. Only now, instead of protecting you from predators, it nudges you toward comfort. One more episode, one more scroll, one more promise to start tomorrow. Here's the dangerous part. Your brain doesn't always know the difference between rest and escape. Rest helps you recover. Escape keeps you from becoming the person you could be. Modern technology understands this better than most people do. Every notification, endless feed, and autoplay video competes for the same hours that could transform your future. Not because you're lazy, because your attention is valuable. The longer you stay, the more someone else profits. Every minute spent consuming is a minute that could have been spent creating. The people who consistently build after 5 p.m. aren't blessed with extraordinary discipline. They've simply learned one powerful lesson. Your environment often makes your decisions before you do. When you make the right choice easier, leaving the book on your desk, opening your laptop before dinner, preparing your workspace in advance, good habits stop feeling like a battle. And that raises an even bigger question. If your environment shapes your future, what kind of environment creates extraordinary people? History leaves behind a surprisingly clear answer, and once you see it, you'll never stop noticing it. Level 2. History leaves behind an interesting pattern. The people we admire didn't build extraordinary lives during their busiest hours. They built them during the hours nobody noticed. Long before anyone knew their names, there were quiet evenings filled with uncertainty. A laptop on a kitchen table, a notebook full of ideas, a first customer, a first video with almost no views, a product that barely sold. From the outside, it looked ordinary, but something extraordinary was happening. They weren't just building businesses, they were building themselves. That's the part most people miss. The biggest transformation doesn't happen when your income changes. It happens when your identity changes. The moment you stop saying, I want to start a business, and start saying, I'm someone who builds, everything begins to shift. Builders don't wait to feel motivated. They build first, and motivation catches up later. Science supports this. Every repeated action strengthens pathways in your brain. At first, building a new habit feels like walking through a dense forest. Every step takes effort, but with repetition, that rough path becomes a trail, then a road, until what once felt difficult becomes automatic. That's why consistency beats intensity. One productive evening won't change your life. Hundreds of productive evenings will change who you are. And once you change, opportunities begin to look different. Problems become puzzles. Failure becomes feedback. You stop asking, "What can I build?" and start asking, "Who am I becoming?" But becoming that person requires protecting the hours that create them, and that's where most people lose. Every evening begins with good intentions, then the phone vibrates. One notification becomes 10. 10 minutes become an hour. Suddenly, the evening is over. This isn't simply a lack of willpower. Your attention is being fought over every second. The apps on your phone are designed to keep you engaged because your attention has value, which means every evening, an invisible battle begins. On one side, the future you're trying to build. On the other, everything competing for your focus. The people who consistently succeed don't rely on endless motivation. They remove friction. The laptop is already open. The workout clothes are ready. The camera is charged. The task is waiting. Simple systems beat heroic effort because they're easier to repeat. Think of an airplane changing direction by just 1 degree. At takeoff, the difference is invisible. Hours later, it lands on a completely different continent. Your evenings work exactly the same way. A single hour won't transform your life, but hundreds of focused evenings can. Then comes the decision that separates dreamers from builders: consumption or creation. Every evening, millions of people open their phones and spend hours watching someone else build the life they wish they had. Meanwhile, someone else is creating, uploading their first video, launching their first business, writing their first chapter. Neither choice feels important in the moment, but repeated over years, they lead to completely different futures. Consumers ask, "What's new today?" Builders ask, "What can I make today?" That's the difference. Consumption ends when you close the app. Creation keeps working long after you've finished. Every article you write, every skill you learn, every customer you help, every product you create becomes another brick in a future you're building. At first, it feels like nothing is happening. The wall is too small to notice. That's why so many people quit. They mistake invisible progress for no progress. But the builders who succeed understand something different. They don't stop laying bricks just because they can't see the finished wall. And over time, something unexpected happens. The business builds discipline. The work builds confidence. The failures build resilience. The process slowly builds a new version of you. From the outside, people call it luck. But luck often looks like years of quiet consistency that nobody else was paying attention to. Level 3. Imagine someone gave you $100 every day. You'd probably protect it, spend it carefully, maybe even invest it. Now imagine someone gives you something even more valuable. 3 free hours every evening. Unlike money, you can't earn more of them. Once they're gone forever. That's why successful people don't ask, "How much time do I have?" They ask, "What can this hour become?" 1 hour can become a new skill, a new client, a better habit, a business, or a completely different future. The hardest part is that results don't arrive immediately. For weeks, maybe months, it feels like nothing is happening. Your videos barely get views. Your business makes almost no sales. Your ideas seem invisible. This is where most people quit. Not because they failed, but because they expected progress to be obvious. Nature teaches a different lesson. When you plant a seed, nothing appears above the ground for days. But beneath the surface, the roots are growing. The tree isn't doing nothing. It's preparing. Your evenings work the same way. Every skill you practice, every mistake you survive, every problem you solve, you're growing roots that nobody else can see. Then one day, an opportunity appears. People call it an overnight success. You know better. It was built during hundreds of ordinary evenings that no one noticed. That's the real power of consistency. It quietly turns ordinary days into extraordinary years. Now let's go back to where we started. 2 people leave the same office, the same salary, the same hours, the same dreams. One walks through the front door and asks, "How can I relax?" The other asks, "What can I build?" Neither decision changes their life tonight, but repeated hundreds of times, those small choices create 2 completely different futures. Years later, people will say, "You got lucky." They'll never see the evenings, the failed ideas, The unfinished drafts, the videos nobody watched, the customers who said no. The nights when quitting felt easier than continuing. Those moments never make the headlines, but they write the story. Here's the truth. Your job can pay your bills, but it probably won't build the life you've imagined. That life is built in the quiet hours, when nobody tells you what to do, when no one is watching, and when every choice belongs to you. Maybe that's why 5 p.m. is such an important moment. It isn't the end of your day. It's the moment your future quietly asks, "What are we building tonight?" You don't have to change your life tomorrow. You don't need the perfect idea. You don't need to work until midnight. You only need to protect one evening, then another, then another. Because extraordinary lives aren't built through one dramatic breakthrough. They're built through ordinary moments, repeated with extraordinary consistency. So tonight, when the clock strikes 5 p.m., remember this. Most people will believe the day is over. But the people who eventually change their lives know something different. The hours after 5 p.m. don't just shape your evening. They shape the person you're becoming. And that's the real secret. Your paycheck rewards what you did today. But what you do after 5 p.m. decides what tomorrow can become.